guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about mirroring. Now, if you don't know what mirroring is, in my opinion, it's like another way to say, it's like another version of karma. What goes around comes around, just how life has full circle moments. It gets down. It does not play. So, if you are here for that conversation, sit down and listen / watch, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, to this yap session. It's really a simple topic, but there's like so much to go into. If you understand the idea of karma, what goes around comes around, or when people be like, don't ever think that can't be you, that's what we're gonna get into today. Not to get too deep too quick, but I feel like mirroring is like the deepest teacher in life ever. Like ever. Like, have you ever had a situation like someone tells you about something they're going through, a reason they're upset, whatever, and like you really can't understand it or don't see why someone's that upset, but then it happens to you, like something similar happens, you experience that feeling, you experience that pain, and you're like, oh my god, like now I completely understand, whether you were ignorant about it or you just truly didn't understand because you hadn't been in the shoes before. You just really think like, dang. And today I want to talk about how mirroring has affected my life tremendously. So if you keep up with my videos, you probably know a little bit about this. When I was 18, I was in my first serious relationship, and you know, it ended young love. I was basically blindsided. Like all of a sudden someone was just like, I can't do this anymore, and I've been lying about this and this. And I was like, and you know, when you're younger, like you believe everything. So I'm like, what? Like this dude who said, made all these promises, we're gonna be together forever, it's just saying fuck that, like right now, like what? I was heartbroken. I was heart shattered. And this touches a little bit on my other video / episode, Healing Your Mindset, where when I came out of that, I was so victim based. I mean, rightfully so. It's not right to hold in how you feel and then finally let it come out. That's not how you're supposed to go about things, and you're not supposed to lie to people. So I rightfully felt like that. But when I did some heavy reflection like 6 months ago, I was able to see how my next relationship after that truly mirrored my behaviors in the first one. And I said, oh, it was a full circle moment. In my first relationship, I was super insecure because I had acne, and it was just like my first relationship. I was having all these firsts with one person, and they had already done this and this with other people, and it just made me insecure, which if you've ever felt like that, you're valid, but don't feel like that. Like it can literally make you miserable trying to compare and all that. Just work through it with yourself and your partner. Anyway. But how that first heartbreak broke me down, I was truly built up when I picked myself up from it, okay? I felt like the most confident bitch in the world. Like, I still had acne. It was a little more under control, but I didn't let it make me miserable like I used to. I just saw my self-worth so much. Like, sometimes, you know, when they say, like, the universe and stuff, it's gonna keep testing you. And if you don't choose to make that decision to let go, it's gonna make it for you. That's truly what it did in my first heartbreak. And so when I was forced to let go, I was sad and depressed, and I sulked for a little bit, but then I really built my confidence up, like, oh yeah, I'm that girl for real. And I entered my new relationship about 6 months later with this new outlook on relationships. Not like, oh, like everyone I date has to be like, we have to stay together, or if they make these promises, it's true, like blah, blah, blah. I came out it like, I've never been like a hookup person, a dating person. I'm very much a relationship monogamous person, but I entered this new relationship with this newfound confidence. Like, if they're not treating me how I deserve to be treated, I can leave. I can leave and I'll be just fine on my own, because you know what? I was just fine after I picked myself up. Like, I don't need anyone. I want someone, and I want someone who contributes to my happiness, and I want someone who's deserving of me. And if it gets to that point where they're not deserving or whatever, I know that I have an option to walk away, and I can do this I can do this on my own, period. Like, it's crazy because that's literally how I felt like my whole life. But it's just like being in a relationship with someone who loved on me and made me so many promises just like changed my whole perspective for that year. But yeah, then I got my back. So yeah, I walked into the relationship like that, and I walked into the relationship with someone who had quite the opposite view. This was someone who was super insecure about how he looked, like all that kind of stuff. But also, it just really came from past relationships, being cheated on, just being an overthinker, being an overanalyzer. And he had the mindset of like, this is going to be my last relationship. This is like, this has to be like, just, I can't do this again, blah, blah. So we came in on two very different wavelengths. And that should have been the first red flag. But, you know, we live and we learn. And so having those two different outlooks and confidences in one relationship was truly an interesting ride. So I'm going to be going back and forth between first serious relationship to second one, because I'm going to show the mirroring. If you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, if you get it, you get it. But yeah, so in the first relationship, I would say I caused a lot of the arguments, and a lot of it truly came from insecurity. Like, it was like him, nobody was telling me I wasn't good enough or I wasn't this and that. It was literally something within my own self that I feel like I was so insecure, I would be irritable, or I would be like wanting to pick a fight. Like sometimes, let me just, because sometimes you niggas are ridiculous. But also, part of the times I'll be picking arguments because I would be catching people in lies. And that's a valid reason. But I'm just saying, I'm taking a little self-accountability for the real, for this video, for the message. Like, I look back on some of the arguments I started when I was in that first serious relationship, and I was like, that was just out of insecurity. Like, I was just making a bigger problem than what something was, or like nitpicking something out of my own insecurity. Like, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. And, you know, I know that now because I'm different now. But when I can reflect and look back on my old self, I can admit that I could take some accountability. And guess what? Guess what? In the second relationship, that was always happening to me. And I said, oh, my next partner used to do exactly what I did. Well, not exactly, but something similar to what I did. Like, he would constantly nitpick, start arguments over like his own insecurity. There literally wouldn't even be a problem. It would just be him starting arguments stemming from his own personal issues. I don't want to drop any examples, but I'm going to drop some examples. This is hard to admit and have on in evidence, but you know, I'm gonna do it for the healing process. I'm gonna do it for y'all and for anybody who's ever So one day he was feeling really insecure. He was a very words of affirmation person, like always need to hear good things about himself because he didn't feel that way about himself, which I don't mind giving affirmations. I love doing that for people I love. My love language is personally acts of service, but I'ma love you in whatever love language you need. So I remember he asked, like, why do you love me? I listed a bunch of genuine reasons why I loved him. And to me, love is not surface level. Love is about the person. Obviously, I'm dating someone because I'm attracted to them. And like, that's the initial thing. But like, how you act can make you real ugly. So I listed a bunch of genuine reasons why I loved him. He got mad at me and said, like, why didn't you say something about like how handsome I am? Like, why isn't that one of the reasons? I was mind blown. I got one of my craziest story times in the notes about this dude too. Comment, drop the story time if y'all want that story time. I was so taken back when he said, why didn't I mention anything about his looks and or him sexually? Yes. I'm like, well, obviously those are things I like about you, but like the things I love about you aren't like, you know, physical related. Like, love is like deeper than that. I explained that. I was like, oh, my bad if you wanted me to throw that stuff in there. He just got so mad, went off on me, was like, I don't want to talk to you. Unfortunately, conversations like that happen a lot. I have to admit, it's so embarrassing. That is just one example where it's like, okay, I literally did nothing wrong. And it's crazy. Like, I literally, like I said, in that relationship, I had the confidence where I was literally too, like, I mean, I felt, obviously you feel bad if you hurt someone you love's feelings, because I feel like that's just basic compassion and empathy. But I was like, bro, I was like, I literally, all the times when I would be like getting bitched at and like having arguments started over nothing because it was just him projecting, I would always just be like, okay. I mean, sometimes it would get me emotional, but like, I'd say 80% of the time I'd be like, bro, I know he's just being ridiculous. Like, that is a clear example of like, it's literally starting an argument because of your insecurities. I didn't do anything wrong in that situation, and I can say that confidently and about a lot of the stupid arguments. And I literally just thought sometimes when he would do that and like blow up or not want to talk to me or whatever, blame how he feels, blame everything on me, I would be like, dang. I would be like, this is probably like me starting arguments and projecting when I was insecure in my first relationship. I'm like, this is probably how he felt. And I was just like, damn. My bad, bro, my bad. He still ain't shit for lying and love bombing, but I can admit where I was wrong. That's what this whole podcast / YouTube channel is about. Am I right? So that is a huge example of me seeing mirroring in my life. And I don't think that was coincidental at all. At all. I feel like life is always teaching you. Life always be like, I got this for you. And just like, I think that was 100% mirroring, karma. Like, it's just balance I needed to learn more about myself. Because like I said, yes, I can sit and I can be a victim to having my trust broken, having all this from my first relationship. But like, that whole mirroring situation made me realize, like, I gotta take some accountability for how you feel. Like, now I see how it feels, even though it's not always for the same reasons, you know? Like, a lot of times the arguments that I started in my first relationship came out a lot when I realized he was lying. But even sometimes before, I would start petty, insecure stuff. But I'm just like, I feel like having that done to me really taught me, like, wow, like, this is how I made someone else feel. And I can totally understand now about projection and insecurity. And like, it was just a huge lesson. Not coincidental at all. And to anyone hurt in a hard place, like wishing revenge on someone, or why isn't this person suffering like me? I'm a huge believer that mirroring and karma is always real, like whether you know it or not. Like, I just believe I'm protected, okay? Like, for example, men. A lot of girls, I did in my first relationship when I would see little stuff, after my first relationship when I would see little stuff, like, girls always be like, how am I like suffering? And on social media, it just looks like he's living it up, moving on, blah, blah. You know how many times it's like men have this whole persona, and then I've heard real men be like, yeah, like, I was going through it. I was just flexing, like trying to push through. Or they say they had that little high, but literally months later when the girls are over it, then it comes back to them. And then they feel like shit. And I'm like, yeah, it always comes back now. Like, tell me why. I feel like every single time I've heard like someone cheated on someone, why have I heard so many stories of like people who cheated on someone and then in their next relationship, they get cheated on? I've heard that so many times, because life gonna teach you. Life gonna give you this. I totally understand empathy and like trying to understand what you can, but I also truly believe like, yeah, you don't learn or you don't really get it until it happens to you. Because like experiences are like the biggest teacher, in my opinion. So just remember that. You don't, like, if you're hurting, you don't have to seek out anything. You don't have to seek out anything. Like, everything is full circle, whether you see it or not. I feel like you just have to have trust and have faith that it is, because God, I feel like it always is. Let me know in the comments a time where you feel like you've seen mirroring, you've truly seen a reflection of something, you truly felt that karma, because I want to know. Like, I feel like every single person has an experience like this, and this is just one of my many, but I feel like it was truly like the biggest one that helped me learn, help me like learn more about myself and like the person I want to be, and just like made me more aware, I guess. Thank you guys so much for listening / watching this episode. I hope you gained something from it, and I hope it was just a good listen. Please follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Alicia Milan. You don't want to miss me there because I'm there daily. And I also post when new videos are up, so you don't want to miss that. Please, if you aren't already listening on Spotify, tune into me on Spotify, where I have a podcast with the sit-down topic videos. Alicia's World by Alicia Milan on Spotify. Go follow it. Come on, go follow it. Thank you guys so much for watching / listening again, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.